Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here today with Eitan, and we are exploring how to access our untapped potential. And it's a very broad title, we're aware. We're going to break down what it means, how to access it, how to even become aware of what we're not aware of, and what are some spiritual tools and principles that we can use, not only this week, where the universe is supporting us to get closer to that potential, but any time of the year. And as always, right, what we talk about every week is really meant to be incorporated into a constant practice, a consistent practice, and week by week, stretching and growing into a more powerful, more enlightened, more elevated version of ourselves. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most powerful and practical tools to navigate the coming 7 days. We do that by cherry picking nuggets and gems from the wisdom of Kabbalah so that every episode ends up offering lessons and tools you can use anytime. And we're right now in the middle of the month of Taurus. We're also in the middle of a time period called the Omer, and it's a yearly opportunity for us as these influences converge to really check our connection to and our alignment with our soul's desires, our soul's gifts, our who we truly are meant to be, and what it means to fulfill our maximum potential. And when we look at the writings of the Kabbalists, when we look at the Torah, when we look at all of those ancient writings, it's very clear, and it's repeated over and over and over again, that the purpose of all of our spiritual work is the golden rule: love your neighbor as yourself. And we talked a couple of weeks ago about the intrinsic value of loving and accepting oneself. It's very hard to love and accept others when you're not living it. And there's a reason it's love your neighbor as yourself, right? There's got to be some connection to self as well. And there's also a connection between our own awareness of our gifts and our unique light, as well as our appreciation of the gifts and light within others. So Eitan, maybe we can start by delving deeper into what it means when the teachings say that the purpose for all of the work that we're doing is really love your neighbor as yourself, when, if we're honest, for most people, that's not even number 10 on their list of things to do.
Yeah, that's an amazing question. That's the statement Rabbi Akiva said. If you want to know the whole essence of the spiritual work of the Torah is love thy neighbor as yourself, the rest is commentary. And he meant that all the spiritual precepts, all the spiritual tools, all the meditations, all the connections are to help us to apply the ultimate golden spiritual rule: love thy neighbor as yourself. So why? And if we see the bigger picture of what is our purpose in this world, our purpose in this world is to align completely with our soul, desire, energy, and intention. While our soul, that came from the upper worlds, the metaphysical world, is a pure, our true essence, as a pure desire to share, and even if we receive, it's for the sake of sharing, to love. Our soul as natural tendency, that's the natural essence of our soul, if to feel one with all of us. There's no illusion of separation and fragmentation, real oneness, real love. But our goal in life is not to live in that the physical world of beautiful and oneness, is to live in this world, to live in the body, to live under the influence of the ego, which is the opposite nature of the soul: selfishness, fragmentation. I'm the most important because that's the only one that I feel. So our real purpose of life is to live with our soul in this world and to gradually convert the energy of our body, the energy of our heart, to be naturally aligned with the soul. What does it mean? It means, Kabbalah is saying, that the heart is the center of desire, and the heart represents what type of energy is channeled through me. It's the combination of my soul energy, my body energy, my beautiful intention, my ego intention, and eventually what comes out of our heart is the combination of all these forces being together. So we have two hearts, spiritual hearts. We have the perfect heart that attached to our soul, and there's the heart that attached to the body consciousness, to the ego consciousness. Kabbalistically, we didn't come just to do beautiful, nice actions, giving actions, overcoming ego actions, meditations action. No. We came to convert gradually the illusionary heart that respond to the illusion of I'm happy when things going my way. I'm happy when I'm taken care of. To convert and to align with the real heart that naturally feel empathy for others, that naturally care for the well-being of someone else in the same level I care about myself, that naturally concern of the elevations and the well-being of the entire world, that naturally excited to share with someone else, that naturally feel the pain of someone else's pain. So love thy neighbor as yourself represents the ultimate goal. Because when you says love thy neighbor as yourself, it's not give to your neighbors in the same way you want to give to yourself. Love, it's fun. Love is natural. It's already second nature. You don't say, you say, I love ice cream. You don't say, I'm trying to enjoy the ice cream. Love represents second nature. And that's our goal in life. Not just, I couldn't stand this guy, but I restricted myself not to judge it, and I'm tolerating. Why? Beautiful. That may be a first step of spiritual transformation. But what is the ultimate of spiritual transformation? I naturally connect with the good of that person. So that's our goal in life. And that's the reason all the spiritual action, one of the indication I'm truly growing spiritually towards my soul, towards the light, is when I'm actually in this physical world, I begin to develop that second nature of love, of care. And it's a lifetime, if not lifetimes, process. So I think everything starts with honesty. How far I am from that state. But the fact that in this portion of the week, the Torah actually speaks about love thy neighbor as yourself, indicate there's a cosmic opening to awaken this deeper intention of what really life is all about.
I wonder if we can bring what you just shared to a practical level so that we can take actions this week to expand our capacity to love and to have that second nature that you're talking about. I know a lot of people who are in relationships or in marriages where, things are okay, moving along, having a life together, friends, kids, work, things are okay. I know a lot of people who are looking for a relationship, desiring a spiritual partnership, let's say even seeking their soulmate, not just a partner, but their soulmate. And it's very hard in a monogamous relationship to not focus on what I need, how do I feel, what am I receiving? And many times when I speak with individuals, it's not always clear how to come from a giving place, how to be in that not taking, not receiving, not seeking mode in, first of all, looking for a partnership, but also even in a partnership of 10, 15, 20 years. What does it look like to have the second nature of a giver in a relationship?
That's amazing question. And I want to speak about two tools. One of them sounds theoretical, but it's not. I love when Michael Berg, when he performed weddings, and before the ring ceremony, he would say, this is the time for commitment of the couple. And the commitment is, in order to allow the light of the Creator, which is force of oneness in our life, I commit that my desire to share with you is greater than my desire to receive from you. And I would start with this simple tool with few people in your life. Question yourself. Am I operating from desire to give or from desire to receive? When I'm talking to my partner, when I'm actually annoyed by them, it's okay to be annoyed. It's part of relationship. But are you just focusing on me? You annoyed is saying, listen, I would love them to grow, and maybe from that place, from desire to give. So really question your desire, because everything starts with desire. What's it? Let's speak about specific relationship you want to heal and to get closer. That's number one. What am I? It's not about right or wrong. What's your desire? When I'm coming from desire to give, I'm coming from the pure heart, and eventually that type of energy will heal and convert my heart to be true giver. Number two, and that's a question I'm asking myself. Look at the important relationship in your life. Are you getting closer to each other? Simple question. The word love in Hebrew, ahava, numerical value 13, and is the same numerical value of the word echad, which is oneness, close. In true love, you have closeness. You know, when your knee is hurting, it feels one with you. It's part of you. You're not saying, oh, I'm sorry, knee. Let me do something for you. No, it's part of you. This closeness. So ask yourself, let's be real. Am I closeness with that friend? Let's choose one relationship you'd like to get closer to. That you feel in your heart it's part of your soul mission. It can be soulmate relationship. It can be family. It can be a friend. It can be spiritual friend. It can be anything. Are we really getting closer? Oh, we are nice. We are kind. We do the right thing. That's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to create healing of the space between two people and eventually between all people. That's the purpose of life. So, what am I doing today to get closer to one person? Wow, I had real conversation to remove the barrier. I'm allowing them to share with me what's bothering them. I'm allowing myself to stop and to pause and to feel their pain, what they're going through. I just spoke with a person, and he shared with me that recently he has this challenge with his wife regarding style of parenting. And what he realized through this conversation is so focused on the right parenting, the wrong parenting, and he doesn't first feel her pain that she's going through and the stress that she's going through. And as long as he doesn't feel it and doesn't get closer to her, she doesn't want to hear all his opinion. And he's just focusing on the right approach and the wrong approach instead of, am I getting closer to my wife? And that's in everything in life. It's not just, I've done 500 actions of sharing this year. Wow, beautiful. So many lists of good things that you've done. You can do even documentary about it. Amazing. All this action is supposed to get me closer. Am I getting closer to her? And you need to ask yourself, give me examples in your life and working with people, other angle, what does it mean to get closer with people? Something that will help ourselves to question ourselves and to realize, actually I can get much closer in this area, in that area. So what would you say getting closer, Elisheva?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with trust. That many times in relationships, I think even, we're not only talking about in this case, you're with your romantic partner, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, even in friendships, we keep a guard up. And we might also be doing it, by the way, with our partner. So, as a protective mechanism, I don't want them to see my garbage. I don't want them to see my humanity. I don't want them to think I'm weak or I'm needy. And we build up a kind of barrier or cushion that doesn't allow us or prevents us from deep and meaningful connection. You maybe have fun together, maybe you relate to one another, maybe you share common interests, or maybe your kids are there's all these different points of contact we have with people in our lives. And trust, I think, is a big part of getting closer with another person and realizing, and this for me was a game changer when I really understood this idea that if that living our life led by our heart and really being open-hearted is part of, if not the main part of all of our work, the trust that I have in someone else is actually trust in the Creator. Trust that my friendship with this person can be a source of support and meaning and inspiration, and to be guarded and worried I'm going to get hurt, I'm going to be betrayed, right? What that does is it puts the power in the hands of the other person and completely dismisses the fact that the light of the Creator is behind everything, every interaction, every joke, every time someone steps on my foot. The Creator is behind it all. So when I'm holding back in a friendship or a relationship because I'm afraid, or I don't want to get hurt, or I don't trust, or I'm afraid to be judged, what am I really saying? I don't trust the Creator. I don't trust that this relationship has, by me not going all in, I'm limiting the potential of what not only I can receive from it, but how I can grow from it, what I can give through this relationship. And so I think part of this moving forward into unlocking more of our potential, it's not just, the sages say to do it, so we should work on expanding our potential. The result of expanding, of opening my heart, of trusting, of being willing to be more vulnerable and to take my relationships to the next level of closeness also means that I will be more fulfilled, that I will enjoy, that's the funny thing about when you don't realize how much potential something has, is we kind of accept this is as good as it's going to get. How many people out there in relationships think this is as good as it's going to get? The Kabbalists teach we are capable of unlimited enjoyment, fulfillment, pleasure, happiness, wisdom, peace of mind, and it's only us in our own limited perception that keep ourselves from experiencing that. And that's why what you said, Eitan, the value in even taking one person this week or two people to make the effort to be closer, to take down another barrier, to open my heart a little wider is so valuable, not because of the exercise itself or because of my tikkun or whatever spiritual explanation we might have, But the end result in taking that risk is more joy and more fulfillment and greater sense of connection, which at the end of the day, I benefit from, even though I'm trying to come from a place of being a greater giver and more open-hearted. It sounds like I'm doing it for someone else. Don't be misled. The word Kabbalah means to receive, not to give. By coming from a place of a giver, we are making ourselves more capable of receiving the endless blessings that the light can give us. So it's like you have to be careful. You have to watch that dance of I'm I'm taking the risk, and what am I risking? I'm risking being happier. I'm risking being more fulfilled. I'm not risking pain or betrayal or judgment.
Beautiful, because it's very important, Elisheva, what you shared. You use the word joy and happiness, because getting closer to another human being, which is also getting closer to the Creator and trusting the Creator and not being afraid and not being overprotective of myself, has to bring joy, because state of love is state of joy. Why? Because the Creator is joy. The Creator is fulfillment. If I'm really in a state of love, without concern about myself, really open and willing to get closer, actually, the ultimate level, there's no suffering, there's no pain. Pain and suffering is because I'm busy protecting myself. So when I'm busy protecting myself, so I'm saying there's no light here. I have to protect myself. And when I'm saying there's no light here, there's no light here. So really getting close, so when you spoke, it's interesting. You know, very often we're afraid of arguments with close people. We're afraid of disagreement with close people. So let's watch it this week. Because as you're getting closer to someone, you're not afraid of disagreement, because you know it's going to get you closer. And the overall energy of love is overriding that fear of the scar. So actually the ability to disagree and even to get closer, because what happened with disagreement? Either you get further away from each other after the disagreement, you're holding grudge, you have a memory of distasteful energy and the behavior of the other person, or you actually learn about yourself and you learn to appreciate a person and you learn to see the good of the other person and you learn to accept the limitation of the other, and you're getting closer. So part of getting closer to someone is be willing to cross the illusionary barrier of disagreement, because disagreement doesn't mean you're not loving each other. That's part of true life. We're all unique, so we'll have different point of view, but doesn't mean it gets us away from each other. So that's another test. Are you willing to disagree, but to persevere, to come with a desire to give, and to get closer? Who is the person that you actually learn to become better with disagreement in the last 6 months? Who are the people that you naturally care for, think about them, send them energy, send them love, care for them, not because they asked, because somehow their energy is in your heart and it's part of your energy. The Rav Berg once said that we need to learn from the cells of our body about love. The cells of our body, you know, there are cells of different organs of the body, but when one part of our body is aching or going through any trauma or going through any pain, all the cells of the body as one with telepathy will feel the pain and will support that part. It's not about I have to. It's the energy of oneness. You know, we're in civilization that when someone tells you they're aching or they have a problem, oh, I'm sorry for you, I feel your pain. We say the right thing. We text the right thing. Forget about how it sounds. Let's ask the real question. Between me and the Creator, between me and my soul, between me and my true potential, do I care a little bit more? Or I care about, in the back of my mind, what will make me happy is accomplishing certain results. What will make me happy will get me to get what I want. What will get me happy is to achieve my own visions in life. What will get me happy really is to get closer to true love, to true oneness. And that's something we need to constantly retrain our illusionary belief systems.
So true. Yeah, no, I'm smiling because I can think of I'm thinking of the conversations I've had in the last couple of weeks with people and how what you just shared is the answer to almost everything, every challenge, every difficulty. You know, sometimes when we focus too much on the problem itself, we get away from the solution. And zooming out and thinking, you know, in the bigger picture, what's my goal? Maybe I'm worried to be insulted or hurt or criticized, but if at the end of the day it brings us closer, it's worth it. That little discomfort, that little, I say little, being vulnerable and risking temporary pain for the sake of getting closer and having a more meaningful and connected relationship is worth the hour or 2 hours of uncomfortable conversation. And I think we all agree, but when push comes to shove, we avoid it. So this is really the week to embrace it, to be willing to go there, and to remember that growth happens when we can put aside our worries and our fears and our reservations and lean into that risk or the temporary discomfort for the sake of having that long-lasting fulfillment. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us there for additional content on how to live what we speak about in each week's episode. You can also visit us at weeklyenergyboost.com, read about the things we think are important for our listeners to know, search through our archives, send us a message, and of course, click the donate button and help make Weekly Energy Boost possible. But as always, share this episode. Imagine the entire world seeking to get closer to just one other person this week, opening their hearts a little bit more to just one more person. What kind of collective shift that will create for humanity. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.